Hey, hopefully you've already seen this etched butterfly, but look at that transfer. Okay, this is half of a D size. Okay, there's two butterflies. They come with this transfer. Okay, they are enormous. Now a D size is 18 by 18, so this is almost 18 inches long, y'all. Okay, I'm going to show you an awesome project with this one. So we are all learning here. Okay, this is a learning channel for you and for me because half the time I have no idea what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to try something brand new I've never done before. Hopefully it will work out great. Hi Brooke, hey Stephanie, hi Joni. So this is the lumbar pillow cover, okay, from my shop. You can comment the word butterfly to get all the stuff. Hey Lisa, to make this project tonight, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and remember, this is one of the new transfers that's kind of transparent. And I'm gonna attempt to not stick it to itself. So let's just put it down for a second and then, let me move that so that I don't have it in the way. I'm going to make sure it's in the middle. I don't like it to be too far up or too far down because I like to stuff these pillows really, really stuffy. With lots and lots of stuffing. So if you do put it too far up, it's going to not show once it's all stuffed, okay? So I've got it there, okay? Hi Karen. Hey Alma, welcome. All right, so I'm pushing it down really well. And remember, this is a learning opportunity, okay? Not only for you, but for me too. Hi, Deborah. And hey, Denise. Hi, Laura. Welcome. Hopefully, I don't mess this up tonight, okay? But if I do, I'm doing fabulous. Let's just chalk it up to learning. So we're going to start out with black velvet paste. And I'm just making sure I don't have any, ink. And I have my heat press over here all ready to go. So I want to make sure that I push this down really, really well so that I don't have any leaks at all, okay? And I'm going to just start on this side and I'm going to go from there, okay? Now, I'm trying to use the smallest amount of ink as possible. I don't want to go overboard because this has a bunch of silkscreen area, okay? And you know what happens whenever you have a big silkscreen area. You sometimes can get like a cakey looking ink, okay? And I don't want that here. So I'm going to try my best to do thin layers. I can go back for more if I need to, but that way I'm not caking it on here, okay? Now, you can see with this transfer already that because they're so slick, I don't know if y'all have probably gotten your new ones by now, hopefully. The paste and ink goes on so good. And you really don't use a lot. I love it. For that reason, it's awesome. So I hope y'all are enjoying these new ones. I'm loving using the new ones. So, hi Joanne. No, I did not use a sticky mat. These canvas pillowcases are really, really thick. And I have never yet had a problem with it coming with the ink bleeding. Now, if it bleeds on this one tonight, then, you know, that's on me. I should have probably used my ink mat, but I did not, okay? But for shirts and stuff, highly recommend an ink mat, always, because it's going to save you from that. That ink will go through a t-shirt, okay? But this canvas material is so thick that I've never had an issue yet. Let's cross our fingers and hope that we continue. Hi, Mom! That we continue to, hey Phyllis, not have an issue, because if we do with this one, I'm going to be really sad because I am really excited about this project. I think this might be the new pillow that's going to go in my guest room. So you guys, I have horrible news. My buyers backed out the other day. So my house is back on the market. So Joanne, you still have a chance. Why don't you just come on and move to Tennessee already and come by my house. And then I can go and go home and be with Patty. And then you can come here and you can use my shed as your craft room. I know. I'm heartbroken, y'all. It just wasn't, it didn't work out, so that's okay. You know, and I'm a firm believer in everything happening for a reason, okay, big time. So I don't know, I was supposed to go home this weekend and go look at houses, and I didn't. So there's something that kept me here. I don't know why, but we'll find out. Maybe we won't. I don't know, but that's okay. We will find our perfect buyer. I know. I'm heartbroken on it, but I wanted to tell you guys, and I didn't want to mention it last night. I kind of, during my sale, you know, I wasn't doing a project, and so I just thought that I'd hold it for tonight. But that did happen a couple of days ago. Luckily, it happened before I went down there, because I was kind of pushing the limits, right, on going down. It was literally right at the 10-day mark, and in addition to the, like, after we got what they wanted from the inspection, we had 8 days to, like, make an agreement on what we were gonna fix and all that stuff. And so those 8 days would have crossed over slightly, like by a day or two. So potentially I could have already been down there falling in love with the house. And not that I haven't already fallen in love with some houses that I've seen just online, but it could have been a whole wasted trip. So I am glad that I was able to not go at all and save myself the money and all that good stuff. Thank you, Alma. I love you. Thank you, Joni. I appreciate y'all. Anyways, not a big deal. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. My last house that I sold was pretty much a giant cluster. There was so much stuff that went wrong. Pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong with that one. So I've been here before, and it's not that big of a deal. There will be someone else that will come along, and I know that for a fact, so that's fine. Okay? I know. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Welcome. Anyway, so you can comment the word butterfly to get the stuff to make this. Okay, this is a D-size transfer. I cut it in half. It's 2 butterflies. They're both the etched butterflies. And y'all, they are so pretty. I've been so excited about this one ever since they first unveiled it to us. And if you do the buy it all option, I did go ahead and throw in, even though this is an ink project, I threw in the cutouts for this because look at these ginormous butterflies. I'm telling you what, look at this. It's crazy. These are insane and humongous butterflies, and I'm obsessed with them. So I figured that I would give you the opportunity to grab those cutouts. And y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me last night for my cutout sale. That went phenomenally. And I'm working on those now, so I will be shipping probably tomorrow evening and over the weekend. So hopefully all that stuff will be out of here by, or at least packaged up by Sunday, okay? It's a lot of cutouts, so I gotta work through them, but I've been working on them, so. Yeah, it was an enormous pain. I mean, so many things happened. Okay, so I'm checking my hands, make sure I don't have any ink on them before I pull up. Hi, Shirley. So I've got everything down here, okay? My entire space is covered. I just want to be sure that everything looks good, and I think it does. So as I pull this up, if I notice a spot that maybe didn't get covered all the way or that I missed, I can put it back down. But I think it looks good. Really good, actually. Let me just set that over there so let me show you. That is my etched butterfly. Okay, now we are not complete. That was black velvet ink. Now I'm going to dry this just a tiny bit. Oh, goodness. Before we heat set, we're going to go ahead and heat set it. And then I have a little bit of an idea. Isn't it so pretty? Yes, Joanne, me too. You know, choosing the ones that I was going to use for that sale was one of the hardest things I've done. Because there's so many choices, okay? And finding ones, I know what you guys like for the most part. I like to think I do. But deciding on picking only a handful and not saying I want to show everything, because there's no way. Just the prep time for that alone would kill me. Getting them all cut and all that stuff and then packaged up and everything was a lot of work. Before I left to go to San Antonio, actually. So I had to like rush around. Alright, so I'm going to take my parchment and I'm going to stick it right here over this entire thing, okay? Now, I'm going to have to do this in pieces. I'm not going to be able to heat set the entire thing. Hold on. Before I forget, put my heat pad underneath here so I don't burn this thing up. Now, I don't have an ink mat in here. If you use an ink mat, make sure that you pull the ink mat out first. Okay, I do have my heat pad underneath so that I'm not messing up my desk. And then I'm going to do 350 for 30 seconds. Okay? I know, right, Joanne? Seriously, I go through tons of cardboard. I'm sorry to the environment. But I don't know what else to do. You know, the post office and UPS, I think they see packages for me and they're like, oh, let's just drop kick this one. So I have to like do my best to package really nicely or else things will be broken constantly. And most of the time, whoever, like the shipping company does not want to take responsibility for things that they've broken. So that's really nice of them. Like most of the time, it's a real humongous pain, y'all. Shipping stuff really stinks. Okay, so now I'm going to move over. I'm going to have to go one more time to get this far in. And that ink is dry over here. All right. So I think I did a pretty darn good job not completely overpowering the ink on this one. I'm really happy to hear that. Does she? Yeah, so I like having fun packaging because I like to get pretty packages too, you know? And I buy makeup from this girl and she always sends it in the most gorgeous like packaging. And so when I first saw that, I was already getting some cute stuff from Amazon, but I figured out where she was getting her packaging from and then I started using that same place. Which saves me money too, because I can buy it in bulk. But I love buying the flowers and like different mermaid prints and like the shiny, that holographic looking. I love those packages. I love it. And whenever I get a pretty package, I really like it a lot. So I figured you guys would too. Okay, now let me just make sure this looks perfect. It is seriously not very thick ink. And I'm really, really happy with it. So I'm going to just set that to the side real fast. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I do kind of want to put a piece of parchment in here. Just to be safe, okay? Now, because we're going to try a little watercolor. Or like, yeah, I guess it will be watercolor. So, I am going to go ahead and use just a piece of parchment. Now, you could use an ink mat if you like, but this works just fine, okay? So, I am going to stick that in there because I'm going to grab, let me see, I've got 3 colors over here, so I'm going to get 3 color trays. And hopefully I have water in this bottle right here. If not, I'm going to be in trouble. I didn't check before I started. It's pretty empty, so that's fun. Okay, now, you can comment the word butterfly to get all the stuff to make this. So, these are the colors that I chose. This is orange peel, this is Tide, and of course, Bumblebee. Okay, all ink, not paste. Okay, so I'm going to just take, well, I would have used a stir stick, but, y'all, I'm a mess, okay? I don't know what's wrong with me. But I have a bowl here with like all my tools in it, and of course none of the stir sticks are on top. So I'm going to just grab a little bit of ink of each of these colors. And I don't think I need a ton of it, but I don't really know how much I need. So I'm just going to pull, and I'll show you how much I pulled into this color tray. Okay, just a little bit. We're going to mix it with water, so I think it's going to be watered down a little bit. Hi, Sue. Yeah, they actually backed out. So we're starting over, but we were able to relist it like right away. So that happened. It really stinks. But, you know, things happen for a reason. I have no idea why, or why God wants to just test me all the time, but, you know, it's fine. All right, and then we have Bumblebee. So I'm going to do the same thing and just I don't need a lot. I don't think. Now, I might need more, and if I need more, I can always come back for more, okay? But I'm just putting, and there's a little bit of like black on there, but hopefully that'll be fine. Now, I'm going to get some smaller brushes. Let's see. Maybe not too small, but I do have my water here, so I'm just going to spray some water in each of these, okay? And I'm going to water them down because this is going to be like a watercolor type experiment, okay? Now, we are using ink here, so it will be permanent, okay? It will need to be heat set. But I'm just watering it down now. I might need to add a little bit more water to thin that out a little bit more. I don't want it to be like paint consistency. I truly want it to be like a watercolor consistency, okay? And I'm trying to like mix it in so that I don't have any big chunks of ink here. Okay, and I'm just using my brush to stir it because I don't know where my stir sticks are. I have some, but who knows where they are. All right, that's pretty good. So that's my consistency right there, all right? Now, I almost just spilled that, so that would have been a fun time. Now, same thing with the Tide. Just mixing that in really well. And getting that same very watery consistency. I don't want it to be real thick because I want to be able to paint with it and do it like a watercolor. Now, again, I've never done this before. I've not watched anybody do it. So I'm really just flying by the seat of my pants tonight. So we'll see. I think it's going to work. I have faith that it's going to work, right? So there was one time that I did tie-dye with our ink, and it turned out awesome. I actually ended up doing several shirts. And with that same thing, it had not been done before. I kind of like winged it and it worked awesome. So I'm hoping that this will be similar experiment and not be horrible. Now, I am going to just pull up a picture because I just need to know where the colors go. Okay? So hang with me for just a second. Let's see. Oh, you know what? There's one right there. Well, darn it. Okay, here we go. Now, all right. I think I got it. So we're going to do orange towards the outside, yellow, and then the Tide on the inside. I got it. Okay. Yeah, so I did add some parchment so that it wouldn't soak through, hopefully. But yeah, I don't want it to be too wet, because it definitely will. Now, we're going to start with a little bit of orange over here. Now, that's going to be a problem. So, hold on. Let me see what I can do about that. Because, of course, I don't have any baby wipes in here. Okay, I'm going to want a smaller, I can already tell, a smaller paintbrush than this one. Okay? So, I do have, I thought I was going to want a bigger one, but changed my mind. So let me see if I have these Dollar Tree ones that are great. So I'm going to start with the smallest one and see how we go from there. Now, I am just kind of tapping it on here, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to use my fuzzing cloth because I don't have any shame in my game, and just kind of dry that off so that it doesn't dry the orange on top of the black. Okay, now I would recommend to probably don't paint on the black, but those little spots were kind of hard to do. Okay, now this one's a little easier, and remember, we're gonna go orange, And then a lot of yellow in the middle. So orange on the edge, yellow on the middle, and then we'll go into the tide on the inside of the butterfly, like on the inside of the wings, okay? All right. So this one will be orange, and then we'll go down here and get some more orange in there. This is gonna be great. This is already looking really cool. So remember, this is ink. We are gonna heat set it, okay? And if you go over a little on the black, just kind of wipe that off so that you don't have like big spots of orange, okay? Hi Mary, how are you? Hey Sharon, welcome. Now, you can use any color for the outline for the first, like the color that the black that I used, but I wanted to use black so that in the case that I potentially messed it up, it wouldn't be so noticeable. So yeah, you could definitely do it with a paint pen. The reason I'm using ink and a paintbrush is because it's ink, okay? Now, if you're doing this like on the cutouts, yeah, a paint pen would be perfect. Because you can be more precise. But I am liking this a lot. This is actually working pretty well. I should use that smaller brush even. This one's just got a better like end on it maybe. Okay. And then I am gonna take my fuzzing cloth. Thank you, Donna. All right, so let me just show you what I have so far, and then we'll go over and do the other side and start with the yellow. Okay, so that's my orange side so far. I'm pretty darn happy with that. I think it looks really good. This is gonna be a cool pillow. I'll be lucky if Patty doesn't try and steal it from me. Because, you know, she tries to take everything cool that I have, y'all. Yeah, I definitely need a smaller brush, even for the bigger parts, I think. So, use a smaller brush with a little more on it. And I think I will go ahead and still use my fuzzing cloth to just wipe off that excess before it dries. And before I heat set it, okay? Yeah, I'm liking this a lot. Okay, so, but yeah, definitely, I mean, you can have fun with this, okay? Try some paint pens whenever you do this on a wood surface or on the cutouts, or you could try watercolor on watercolor paper, y'all. So that works really, really nice with paste, okay, and a brush. I have done that with the sunflower, I think, and that turned out really neat. Okay, so, and you could even blend some of that orange into, so I wanted to water it down a little bit so that it wasn't so thick, and so that it would be easier for me to spread it. Now you could probably try, the ink is really thin anyways. You could try using it at its regular consistency or just water it down a tiny bit. But I wanted it to be more like a watercolor, so that's why. And I thought it would work better, oops, with the brush. Now, try it, please, and let me know how that goes for you. Share in my VIP group all of your projects that you're working on. Everyone loves to see it. Plus, it's inspiration and ideas for everyone. And just, you know, shows people, like, here's some ideas on how to use this transfer more than just, you know, the one that you see everywhere, right? Because a lot of them you'll see the same idea. And if you come up with something different, then I want to know about it, because it not only inspires me, but everybody else too. All right. Now, again, this one is Bumblebee. And now, so I'm going to try and see if I can't blend this here. Now, I'm no professional, okay? I'm not a painter. Some of you painters out there are probably going to cringe. But hopefully the water will also help me whenever I get to blending, okay? So we'll see. Oops. Okay. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me. So if you comment the word butterfly, you will get the link to get all the stuff that I'm using, okay? Including the cutouts, which I know I'm not using them tonight, but these cutouts are awesome, okay? I am obsessed with them. So you will see them again, but I wanted to show them to you tonight because why not? Hi, Melissa. How are you, love? What's going on? I hope you're doing great. All right. So tell me what your plans are for the weekend. Anybody have any fun plans that I should know about? I do not. I was supposed to be going home, but that got canceled until we actually have a real live offer. But I would love to know what y'all are doing. I want to hear about it. I will be here. I will be cutting orders. I will be working on cutouts all weekend long, getting them packaged up and out the door from my sale yesterday. So that actually works out well for me because then I don't have to let them sit for the weekend and come back and have to deal with it. So that way it gives me a lot more availability to get that stuff out the door. That was one thing I was a little concerned with whenever I was going to do my live sale, was that I would have to sit on some orders, and I don't like that. Ooh, that sounds fun. I love that, Karen. You and your mom are going? Nice. I do love spring cleaning, y'all. I told Chris a couple weeks ago that one of my major goals for this month, and maybe early next month, because January is basically over already, is to get our garage organized. Because first of all, it's embarrassing looking at it. It is a disaster out there, okay? There's just stuff everywhere because I packed some boxes and threw them out there. And then, you know, everything that doesn't have a home ends up out there. If it doesn't end up in here, it ends up out there. And so, to make my house look less messy, right? So I've got to do something because it's making me crazy. Every time I go out there, I'm like, I don't even want to walk in here. So that's not this weekend, I don't think. That'll probably be next weekend that I make him. Ooh, I love that idea. Yes, like a hot mess, I would assume, or maybe even an ombre effect. Yes, I love it. Now, the only thing is that the places like where the holes are that I'm painting are where the blue part on the transfer covers it. So you would just have to come up with a way to do that. But what you could do is do like we did with the I'm not thinking properly, the etched sunflower, and go ahead and paint the surface first, like a very rough paint, and it would be perfect on the cutouts to do that. And then go over it with your black. So you could mix your colors and do all that good stuff, and then do the black last. That would turn out really cool. Okay, so we're here to this point. Now I'm a little afraid, okay, to take this blue in here. And I know we can blend it. I have a little bit more up here. Kind of delaying it, okay, because I'm afraid. So I'm tempted to go over to the other side and get the orange and yellow done over here. But I don't really want to put my arm down on it. So maybe I should just bite the bullet. Let's see if I can find a good brush. I think this one will work. So I'm not going to use that one. I know that one's going to be way too big. So I'm just using a tiny little brush here. And Tide ink. And I'm going to just, this brush stinks. I don't like it. It does not work. Maybe this one will be better. It's kind of a little stubbier. I really would love for chalk to come out with some little brushes. Like immediately. That was one of my wish list items. So they asked us, whenever we went to leadership last weekend, they asked us to bring some ideas on things that we want to see, okay? Like as product from chalk, okay? Which is so fun. I love that they asked for our opinions on this stuff. So I did ask for paintbrushes, like a set, a good set, because I love the paintbrushes that they've already given us, but I would really like to see more. Okay, now is where the really scary part comes of blending that with the yellow. So let me see if I can just, and I can, that worked. Okay, cool. All right, I'm not so terrified anymore, y'all. My terror is going, which is also scary because that's when bad things happen, but I think we'll be good. Oh yeah. I'm liking this. And this water is helping me blend, Deborah, so give this a shot. Oh. Okay, so yeah, I took all kinds of ideas. And also, I don't know if y'all have seen it, but I showed you the catalog in my VIP whenever I got home of all the new items. I've been working on cutouts for them too. So I've been posting those in my cutout group. So check that out. Make sure that you take a look. I am going to have mystery bundles available too. If you want to get yourself a mystery bundle of new transfers. Oh, that's fun. I love that. I love a good cheer family, Deborah. Okay, so really just sports families in general. I love it. Okay, let me blend this in. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this so much. Cleaning out your closet. Yes, ma'am. I love that. Oh, you're going to make your son supper. That's so sweet. I can't wait till my mom can cook for me again. Yeah, I love my mom cooking for me, y'all. So Chris and I were talking the other day because my mom was saying, jokingly, I think, that instead of us buying a new house, because my parents are talking about moving too, that we all just go in on a huge house, like a mansion together, right? And one where we could afford it if we split it, but we couldn't afford it alone, like one of those deals. But a huge one, right? So they could have one wing and we could have another. And then, you know, when we want to hang out or whatever, we can do that. But we also have our own space and a big enough house to where, you know, we can live there together, but still have independent space, right? So Chris was telling me the other day, like, oh my God, that would be so cool, Pam. I would love to have your mom cooking us dinner every night. Like, how awesome would that be? And because we've talked about, you know, one day, if it's required, then his mom can live with us. My parents can live with us. It's fine, you know? But yeah, Chris was like, ooh, we should have our moms live with us so we can eat dinner, like homemade dinners every night. So, yeah. It's a dream, I'm telling you, right now, because hopefully we will find our buyer soon. We'll be good. Yeah, exactly. Get out your recipe book, Mom. All of her recipes, though, Deborah, are in her brain. I swear, I don't know how she comes up with stuff, okay? This lady can come up with a dinner every night for the past like 40 years off the top of her head. I don't know how she does it. Or how she has ingredients that are fresh, always. Okay? I don't know. It's a mystery to me still, because I've been struggling with this my entire adult life. The whole what's for dinner nonsense. I hate that question. And having ingredients that don't go bad. So, look how awesome that looks. That is the Etched Butterfly, the new one that just came out, the huge one, on the lumbar pillow. Okay. And you can comment the word butterfly to get all the stuff to make this. Now we're going to move on to the other side, and I think I'm going to work from the inside out. I think that will be my best bet. Because I'm going to find that I'm going to be putting my hand down on this thing and I'm going to mess it up or end up getting ink everywhere. So think about that if you're left or right-handed, how exactly you're going to go about painting this bad boy, okay? Comment butterfly to get everything I'm using tonight. All you need to have is ink, okay? It comes with the pillowcase and the transfer. It is a D-size transfer. There are 2 butterflies. And you can also get the cutouts too, okay? If you have not gotten them already, I would love to get them for you. And then we do have the launch coming on February 2nd, y'all. And those designs are so good. There's some really funny ones. I was really looking closely at them today while I was doing cutouts. They're hilarious. Have y'all seen them? The dad bod one? That is stinking hilarious. It's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. I love it. Or trophy husband. Yes, please. What's some other ones? The one, of course, mom is the piece that holds us together, something like that. I love it. And then, of course, some other cute, snarky ones. Plus, there's also a ton of Easter stuff. New Easter minis, too. Salmon patties? Yes, girlfriend. Sign me up. I'm just going to stop by for dinner. Yeah, my mom is an incredible cook. I mean, I learned all of my cooking stuff from her. Oh, let me go a little bit higher up here. It's funny, actually. Okay, so my ex and I lived in a house with him and some roommates. And his roommate was a cook, okay? And so he cooked every meal that was cooked in that house. If it was cooked, he cooked it, right? And so one day, one of their other friends, like a longtime friend of theirs, is over at our house. And I was baking. I love to bake. So I was baking something. Who knows what it was. Anyways, so I'm baking, and his friend comes in the kitchen and tells me, like, oh, would you please come to my house and teach my wife to cook? To bake. If you teach her how to bake, she'll teach you how to cook. And I'm like, excuse me? Because these guys had never let me actually cook in my own house, at that house, because the friend, one of the roommates, was a cook, and he always cooked. And I'm like, I was so offended, y'all. I'm still offended, actually, by that. Just talking about it right now boils my blood. Because I had never been allowed to even attempt to cook, so how would these guys even know? And they're going around telling their friends that I don't know how to cook? Oh, I was furious. Still very annoyed by that. Okay? And, I mean, that was years ago. But after that, I did start cooking a lot. And it was like, oh my God, you make the best stuff. And I'm going, interesting. Very interesting that you guys never let me cook one time in this house. I mean, we lived there for a solid year, and I never cooked there once. But that guy told me, well, if you come to my house and teach my wife how to bake, I'll get her to teach you how to cook. And I mean, I was just like flabbergasted. Like, what are you talking about? These men, y'all, I swear, you can't take them anywhere. Okay, so the yellow is coming on. I know this one's a lot, but it's worth it. This pillow is going to be so pretty. And I think it'll be perfect for my guest room. So I am still cleaning up these edges. Okay, uh-oh. Not like that, but maybe a little lighter touch. Shorter strokes to clean it up so I don't smear ink all over the place. So this is just Bumblebee yellow ink. I did water it down so that it would be a nice mixable consistency, and so it wouldn't be too thick where I could still spread it with the paintbrush, okay? Now, I am using smaller paintbrushes so I can really get in there and try not to make a huge mess and go over the lines. I did the black first and I heat set it with my heat press. Now, you do not have to have a heat press, okay? You can absolutely use an iron, okay? So when you see me use a heat press, please don't think that that's something that you have to run out and purchase, because you absolutely do not. If you want to do this with an iron, you can. Just do the black first, okay? And then let it sit and dry for about 24 hours, okay? You want it to be good and dry. And then you can go ahead and heat set it with an iron on like medium-high heat for 4 minutes. You want to take a piece of parchment and put that over your design and move that iron around for 4 minutes, okay? Then it should be good and heat set. And then you can go on and do your watercolor on it, okay? So keep that in mind, that you absolutely do not have to have a heat press. Now, I love mine. There are plenty of them to choose from on the internet. I did buy a Cricut. It was on sale. Well, Chris bought it for me actually for Mother's Day one year. But I have the Cricut, but that doesn't mean that's the one you have to buy. There's so many of them that are less expensive than that and just as good of quality, okay? I think I have like the 9x9 one. But it works great, and you can press right away, like heat set something immediately, which is nice. Now, I'm really loving this because it's not exactly the same on both sides. Okay, because obviously in the wild, you're not going to see a perfectly symmetrical, the colors being like perfect, but it's pretty close, and I'm loving this color combination. That tide works just perfectly. Okay, so let me clean that up a little bit. But again, remember, you don't want to go in too crazy and thick with this watered down ink, because it will go through. Look how pretty that looks though so far. It could go through the canvas, okay? This is super thick. Let me see if it has. I don't think it has, but I've been trying not to go on too hot and heavy with my ink that I'm painting on, okay? So now let's do the rest of our yellow. And then we'll come in on the edges with the orange. And I think this will be a pretty cool project. Super easy. We'll heat set it tonight, so it'll be completely dry. That is one thing that I do love about having a heat press, is that I can press it immediately, have a project that's done, or a shirt, if I need a quick shirt to wear somewhere, you know, I can make one right then, or even like a gift. This is so easy for gifts. Now, this project, I wouldn't recommend making it a last minute gift, but you do you. If you do what you gotta do, okay? If you have someone that loves butterflies that much, then make it before you leave. But don't send your husband for me when you're making him sit and wait, okay? That's on you, my friend. All right. So yeah, I was really looking forward to being home this weekend, but things didn't work out, so I'm alright with it. But y'all just cross your fingers that something magical happens, and maybe we can still use our same end of March closing date. Wouldn't that be fun? Because that was what our closing date was going to not be till the end of March anyways. So we could still totally make that right now. Easy. And I would absolutely love that. And not have my plans disrupted at all. Let me see. So, oh, I did go all the way out with this yellow. This is going to look so cool. And just imagine, my guest bed has like black, it has a black comforter and black sheets. This is going to look super cool on that. And you know you can dye these pillowcases, right? With RIT dye. So you could dye it first and then use ink on it. Okay, dye it, whatever the package says. And then dry it, of course. And then ink on that, so you have a completely different color pillow. Maybe white would look cool on a darker pillow. But you can mix up your colors and do whatever you want to do. Just remember that on that transfer, the green spots are going to be open, so you're going to have to figure out a way if you want the color to add the color, okay? Great. Shoot. There we go. Perfect. Really liking having this black on here so that I can not show my mistakes. My childish looking painting, my gosh. It's horrible. My painting skills are absolutely awful, y'all. It's not good. It's interesting though, because I can paint like a bedroom. I can paint a wall pretty darn good. But get me to art class painting something like this and it looks horrible. Okay. So I have a few little yellow spots here. And then the rest of them are going to be orange. So let's do orange. And I'm scared this one might be a little bit too big of a brush. Yeah, it is. So let's see if I can get me a smaller brush. And then also be careful not to drip onto your pillowcase, because this is permanent, right? It's ink. So keep that in mind when you're painting with it, that any little drips or anything like that are going to be there. That's that. I mean, there's not much you can do about it. So just keep that in mind. And this is looking pretty good though for a really bad paint job. But that black does help me to cover up any imperfections. So that's good. I'm liking it. Okay, and then obviously I am using my fuzzing cloth. I don't really care if it gets ink or paste on it. I mean, it's a tool in my craft room. I will just throw it in the washing machine, like with my towels and jeans. And it will not get it clean, but it will be clean, right? It'll be washed, and there will still be stains on it. So keep that in mind if you're going to use your fuzzing cloth for anything to do with ink, to like dab it off or anything, it's going to be stained. But I don't care. I have a couple of them and they're both pretty horrible looking, and that's all right with me. almost there. All right, here we go. So now just clean this up a little bit so that that black looks nice and stark still. And let me get rid of some of this stuff that's everywhere so that I don't spill anything or make some crazy mess around here, okay? Now, we're gonna heat press this again. So I have my parchment. I do wanna dry it just a little. Now, I don't think it's that wet. It's really not at all. But I am gonna just run my dryer over it for seconds. But I have been dabbing it the whole time, so it's not like any like major wet spots, but make sure if you're gonna leave any big wet spots that you dry that up before you hit it with the dryer, because you're gonna knock it, you're gonna move it, and it's gonna mess you up, okay? So just keep that in mind. You don't wanna make it run all over the place. Now, I'm gonna take this out of here, because it does have some ink on it, like dried ink. It's not wet still, but still. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, 350 for 30 seconds with my heat press. Again, if you use an iron, it'll be medium-high heat for about 4 minutes, 24 hours after it's dried, okay? You want to use the parchment and make sure that you move that iron around. Don't burn it, okay? And then if you're using some other type of fabric, just check the fabric, make sure that you use the right setting. I pretty much use 350 on most things, but with a regular iron, I would just check and make sure that you have the right cloth setting. I don't know how to use I know how to use an iron, okay? But I don't use an iron on a regular basis, so I am not the, like, master of ironing. I don't do it, okay, very often. Maybe, like, once every couple of years when I have to. So I actually, whenever I first moved here, I had to figure out if I had an iron in this house, because I don't recall actually seeing it anywhere. It was in my laundry room. It was brand new, still in the box. But I did own one, so that was a good sign, right? Okay, so I'm going to do just the last time on this little tip of the wing over here. And y'all, this looks so good. So you can comment the word butterfly to get all the stuff to make this project, including these cutouts, okay? You can get both of the butterfly cutouts. Let me see if I can grab this one really fast before. See how big those are? Both of them are huge. This transfers a D size, which means it's 18 by 18. This butterfly is probably 16 inches long. I don't know, I haven't measured it, but it is big, okay? Okay, now, check that out. Look how pretty that turned out. And it did not seep through to the other side. You could absolutely use the other side for something else if you like. But I think that turned out pretty darn good. Look at the colors there. Let me see if I can. Look how good it is. So, comment the word butterfly to get all the stuff to make this. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate all of you. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? It is pre-Friday, so tomorrow is Friday. Thank God. I love you all. Have a wonderful evening, okay? See ya.